Alrighty, HELP. So, Higher Education Loan Program, or HELP as it's known, you might have heard it as HEX, is what it used to be probably about in the last 10, 15 years ago. Some of your parents probably went through the HEX scheme, which is now the HELP scheme. And the whole purpose of it is that university and some other higher education plans can actually be quite expensive to take. The cost of the courses themselves can be huge. So, you could take a loan out with a bank and then go and do university. What the government said is that rather than people having to rely on the banking system, which isn't always the most reliable, how about they trust the government instead? And so instead of getting your loan through a bank, you can get it through the government. But you did get a loan, and loans need to get paid back. And so for a HELP repayment means that once you start earning money, you've graduated, you've got your degree, you're now a qualified maths teacher, for example. Now, you need to start paying back some of that money, and it's dependent on how much money you make. But it's quite straightforward in terms of a calculation. It is just the percentage based off your taxable income. And it is just a percentage. It's a straight percentage calculation based on your taxable income. If you make $65,000, you're going to pay 4.5% of $60,000. But similar to tax, you're probably not going to pay it all at once. You're probably going to pay it as you go. So it's going to be taken out of your payment monthly or weekly or something. So imagine, for example, you made $65,000. So if you make $65,000 taxable income, so this is after all your deductions, then the question is, how much money do you have to pay on HEX per year? And then as furthers per month, and then probably more realistic based on your income schedule, probably per fortnight. Lots of people are paid fortnightly. So, first of all, $65,000. Well, it depends on which year we're in. Once again, in the textbook, we're probably going to be dealing with this table here, but for this one, I'm not going to bother, and I'm actually going to use the current table. And you can see that in this range, you're paying 3.5%. Compared with in the previous table, you would have been paying 4.5%. So you can see that the government's slightly nicer now, but that's also due to the fact that inflation has happened. But we don't need to talk about inflation right now. So let's use the 2021-2022 table. In the textbook, probably use the 2017-18 table. It's the one that's been given to you. But, I like a bit of fun. So in this range, you have to pay 3.5% of your taxable income. So your repayment is equal to the percentage of your taxable income. So in this case, the percentage is 3.5%. So 3.5 over 100 times the taxable income, 65,000. And we get the repayments are equal to $2,275 per year. Okay? But per year is pretty unrealistic because most of your taxations happen regularly, meaning either at your monthly paycheck or at your fortnightly. So, since there are 12 months in a year, your per monthly is just going to be $2,275, but divided by 12. With a bit of rounding involved, so $189.58. The next digit was a 3, so we're rounding down. Alrighty, per month. And for per fortnight, we're going to be dividing by 26. So 2,275 divided by 26. Now, something I haven't really spoken about too much so far is about months and weeks and fortnights. You never want to convert directly between months and fortnights or months and weeks. It just doesn't work. Always go from yearly to months or yearly to fortnights or yearly to weeks. The only conversion you can do is weeks to fortnights, but weeks to months is difficult, and don't assume there are 4, because there are not 4 weeks in a month. There's sometimes 5. gets a little bit confusing. So just make sure you don't do that. And the per fortnightly amount would be $87.50. Alrighty, so that is a little bit on the help scheme and how you're going to pay it back. See you next time.